Okay. Good morning, everybody. Let's see here. I'm gonna wait for 1 second, guys. Have a special guest coming today. Here he is. Okay.
Yeah,
What's going on?
good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning, man. How are you?
I am incredible, my man. I am so excited that we're doing this together. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And now that I saw you yesterday for the first time in 2 months, and now I'm have you in my little show, and I'm super excited to share this with you and to share with everybody that is joining right now. So as everybody starts to come in and they start adding up the numbers, I always usually do like a few seconds of silence for the people that have suffered through coronavirus, people that have suffered through losing someone or being sick, and also a little bit just close our eyes and put positive thoughts for the entire world. I think is something that I like to do in the beginning. So let's do that as everybody joins, and then we'll start. I'm super excited. We're gonna have a fun talk today with James. So let's close our eyes for 30 seconds. Okay. Thank you for that.
That was good, man.
Thank you for that.
Of course. I think there's an echo situation there, but
That's okay. We can solve that one real quick. We'll use the sound from right here and we'll turn it up on Zoom and we are good to go.
okay, awesome. You're a pro. Okay, everyone that is joined here, I wanted to say good morning. It's a beautiful day today. I wanted to introduce you, and I'm sure that most of you already know my famous friend James Harris from Million Dollar Listing, who I have the privilege to call a friend, one of my best friends, one of the closest people that I have in the world. And I have the privilege to see this man from the beginning, from when he started in the business, and it's been so much fun to watch him grow and the exponential level that he's grown. And I wanted to have him here as a guest because we share a lot of life. We share a lot of life experiences together. We share a lot of things in common. We're in the same business. We work for the same company. Our families are friends. We take trips together. So we have a lot in common, and we are in alignment in a lot of things in our life. So I thought it would be great to have someone like you here in the show. So thanks, Giacomo, for joining this morning.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. And you give me goosebumps, dude, because you are somebody, and we'll get into all of this, that I have genuinely really looked up to and sort of learned so much from over the years. And I'm incredibly grateful, not just for business, but now for this incredible friendship and the bond our families have. And so being on this with you now is huge for me. So thank you.
Amazing, man. Amazing.
I mean,
so just to right in, so people kind of, the ones that they hearing for first time that we're that close on everything, one though, just to break the ice, tell a little bit about the story that when we met and how we met and where we were and what, we're working at a different company and you were starting in the business. I love when you say the story. It's a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a really funny story. Santi, I think one of us needs to turn down one of the devices. I think if you turn down your computer, we'll lose the echo.
Okay, let me see.
Let's see if that works. Is that better?
I think it's better, yeah.
Fantastic. So Santiago and I met about 8 years ago, and David and myself had just started in the business. And we worked at a company called Partners Trust at the time. And I had heard about Santiago and I knew who Santiago was. And he was somebody that David and I looked up to. And I then found out he was from Bolivia, which is exactly where my wife is from. So at that exact minute, I knew I had to meet this guy and become a friend of his because we had something in common. He was from Bolivia and my wife was from Bolivia, and I got very excited about that. So I ran into his office and I said, "Hi, I'm James Harris. Can we all go out for a drink? My wife's from Bolivia." And I didn't know that Bolivian men were as macho as they are. And Santiago immediately turned around. He was like, "Whoa, whoa, bro." He's like, "Let's get to know each other first, and then we can decide if we're going to go out for drinks." I was like, "Oh, okay then." So right there, my ego was slightly damaged, to say the least. And here we are 8 years later, and I consider you a best friend. Our wives are close. As you said, we vacation together. I learn from you on the daily, and I'm very lucky to have your whole family in my life. Really, I mean that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Well, it wasn't that rough for you, all of it. It wasn't like get to know each other. Let's have a cup of coffee, but I love your story better.
It was a cup of coffee. You're right. It was a cup of coffee, and we did have a cup of coffee. And look, there's so much more to discuss, but you are one of the reasons that David and I were able to really platform our business and get started in this industry. And I'm eternally grateful for that.
I appreciate so much what you're saying and trying to give me the credit, but you know what? I gotta say that I am a big believer that everyone achieves what they achieve and they do what they do because they want to do it, not because someone else did it. And yes, you have people that inspire you. You have people that in the road you find as teachers, as mentors. And I'm very privileged again to feel that you feel that way about me. But what has got you and David in the place that you are is the tenacity that you have, the relentless desire for growing as a big agent and becoming one of the top agents in Los Angeles, in the country, and the world right now. Again, I had the privilege to see you, and I remember when you walk and you were asking me what are the things to do and this and that. And I'm a big door knocker. I was like, you need to go on door knock. And you were like, what? And I was like, yeah, man, you got to go on door knock. And I remember one day I was driving randomly through the hills, and I think it was Blue Jay Drive at the top of the mountain in Hollywood Hills. And you and David were door knocking uphill. And I was like, well, maybe you should have picked a more flat area in my mind, But look, I mean, that became your guys' area. And it's amazing to see how you've grown. And it's just great, and in every level. So,
thank you.
But now that we kind of warm up the people to know and our relationship and what you've achieved and what do we do and the way how we feel about each other, the similarities that we have, I want to jump right into talking about a few things that I wanted to touch point this week. Last week, for those that joined, we talked about, a little bit of a recap of everything that we've been doing right now, and everything from the premise of what we're going through right now, unprecedented times, how life is, how things are, and how important it is to just really put our focus on the things that are worth to put our focus, right? And the things that we can control and the things that we cannot control. So, we've gone through 6 weeks now. This is the 7th week of giving you exercises that have worked for me, that I learned from other teachers, incantations, visualization, meditation, reading books, exercising, all the things that we've been discussing in here. And I was doing a recap last week to see who really is doing it, and again, you don't need to tell me, you don't need to tell anyone what you're doing, but yourself, whether from 1 to 10, what is your qualification of all the things that you've been doing? 10 being like you've been doing everything, you're committed, you're working hard on it, whether you're seeing results yet or not, you just feel good about doing it and you're on it. Obviously 0 is you're not doing anything, 5 is you're doing some of the things, another one. So it'll be great if you all write down a number right now in a piece of paper to remember every week at what level you are and be accountable to yourself, which is the most important thing to do. So having said that, let's talk a little bit about decisions. James, you have come through life. I'm at this point now as a husband, as a father, as a successful businessman, to times when you need to make decisions, and I believe the life gets shaped on the decisions we all make, good ones, bad ones. It shapes our destiny. So tell us a little bit about how you feel on decisions, when you need to take the tough decisions, and how it's been in the crosspath of life when you come across, a lot of times, you come into making a decision and what seems to be the easy road is just so much easier and you want to just go that way. And really the tough one is the one that we should be taking. And, I mentioned a lot of times in life is that if you do what's easy right now, your life will be hard. But if you do what's hard right now, your life will be easy. So tell me a little bit about how you feel about that.
That is beyond the truth. I think, look, for me, and this is something I have learned over the years, because I had a really tough childhood. I was raised by a single mother who loved me unconditionally. But growing up, I was a very naughty boy, and I've shared this many times before. I was expelled from 8 schools. I was even arrested several times in London. I struggled with ADHD. I was on heavy medications growing up as a child. And growing up, I never felt like I was the victim, but I definitely struggled a lot compared to so many of my friends. And the reason I'm sharing that right now is that if I look back in my life today to all of the struggles I had, I truly don't believe I would be where I am today if I didn't have those struggles. Meaning that with everything that happened in my life, I have no regrets, none. Everything that's happened in my life, on my journey, in my path, has been a learning curve to grow, to get where I'm going today. And I am far from perfect. I make mistakes every single day. There's always room to grow and improve. But the moral of the story is that I think every day, as long as we can appreciate that we're learning and never think that we just know it all, we will always have the capacity to grow. And even today in business, some of my biggest mistakes have been some of my biggest gains, because if I hadn't made those mistakes, I wouldn't have been able to grow. And so I am all about listening to people like you that have inspiration to share, and others that are out there, because I want to grow from the inside out. And again, I think decisions that we make today are going to be so relevant for the rest of our lives, meaning that what we're going through in quarantine right now, for me, is how am I setting myself up for the future? How am I living in faith? How am I living in how am I going to become better as a person? Instead of being lazy, eating shit food, staying in bed, feeling sorry for myself, I think this is a time for us all to really sit down and grow and think about our future. And that's why doing things like this is great, giving back is great, so that we can all help one another to grow.
Amazing, amazing. I love and I share that 100%. So based on that, it's fair to say that we all make mistakes, and you know, we don't need to be afraid to make mistakes. If we don't make mistakes, we don't learn. I mean, if you're not making mistakes, then that means that you're not in the right path. You know, that means that you're not in the path of growth. So be okay with the mistakes you make. Be okay with failure. You know, I mean, we all fail. I mean, you know, every day there's something that we do that it doesn't come out the way we want it, and that's okay. You know, and then it's also fair to say that we all have a story. You know, I mean, everybody has some people had harder lives than other ones. We all have stories. We all think about like, oh yes, but that happened to me, and I've gone through this, and I've gone through that, and you're the perfect example. But that's called so what? That's called like, okay, what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do from this moment and to forward? And I always say, don't wait until New Year's Eve to do your resolutions. Don't wait until the first of the month. Don't wait until Monday. It's now. When you want to take action and you want to make a decision, but the decision is a decision that is meaningful, that is worth something, that you, from, like you say, from the inside, that's all we have, right? From the inside, you have made your mind on a decision and you stick to it, and you have discipline, and you are, you know, tenacious, and you have persistence. You know, that's what's going to really, really change and shape your life. So I agree with you. And that's basically it. You know, I mean, let's stop thinking about the things that have happened to us. You know, I mean, I'm gonna read you an amazing quote that I really, really like by Joe Dispenza, and he says, "Be defined by a vision of the future instead of a memory of the past." Think about that for a second, okay? Well, what happens is our brain tends to go and think about all the things that happened to us, right? Because it happened to us, it's like, you know, it's in our brain, and we were soaked into those feelings that we felt because we actually lived that. It happened to us. But you get stuck on remembering those memories, you know, and mostly people remember the bad memories more than anything, which is sad. If we are stuck in remembering what has happened, instead of focusing on what we want to be or where we want to be defined by the future. And that's why visualization, I believe, is such a powerful, powerful tool, because you are able to see yourself on the future. You see your future James, you know, the future Santiago, the future And then if you see that and you can emotionalize and start feeling the way you're going to feel when you are there, then what's going to happen is everything from back here is going to start shedding like a skin of a snake. And then you're going to have a brand new skin, and you're going to be a new person, and you're going to have new emotions. And then that's how you need to live your life, you know? So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You know something, it's interesting. You know, you can't change who people are, but you can help them. And I feel like, at least in my life, you know, the glass half full versus the glass half empty. I have always lived with a glass half full mentality, no matter how hard things have been in my life. And I've gone to some really dark places in my life. And again, it's made me stronger and who I am today. But I think especially at a time like now with what we're going through, if you can maintain that glass half full mentality and focus on the positives, not on the negatives, and you can live in that mindset, you will be a much happier person overall. And so
100%.
And again, you've spoken about it in your webinars that you're doing. You know, you can control your mind, you can control your actions, and there's so many things that we can't control, like this virus or our past or the future, but we can control the present. And I love that, because if I'm focused on today and now, I'm going to be a lot happier than trying to recreate my past or my future. So again, just so you know, I have pages and pages of notes over the last 7 weeks that I have to read every day throughout the day. And
me too.
It's a program of action, baby, and it's helpful, man. So
you gotta, you know, memorialize that because
sure.
It's so amazing. I mean, to go back and see books and notes and things that you write from years. I mean, next time you're here at the house, I'm going to show you. You're going to flip out with the books and the things that I have, which I never share with you. But, you know, I think the important thing is to think about, okay, where we are right now. And when you're feeling down and it's like the economy is not doing good, the this or that, or whatever is happening in there. And when everybody else is thinking about quitting, don't have herd mentality. Don't go and jump like all the sheep off the cliff, you know, be the person that turns around and goes in a different direction. You know, you have the ability to decide, is this the end or is this the beginning, right? You can create your own beginning and you make that decision and then you go for it, you know?
Yep, that's absolutely the truth, my man. You know, I think, hold on. I think that every one of us has a choice. Okay, every single one of us has a choice, and we have paths that we can take. And I visualize these paths, and you talk a lot about visualization, and it's very simple to me. You've got path A, which is full of fear and living in the past, and you've got path B that is living in faith and living in today. And ultimately, you have to make that choice and decide which one you want to take. And it's not a hard decision when you really think about it. It's just not.
Absolutely. I mean, talking about visualization, I just remember you had the opportunity to do a guided visualization with me. I remember we went on a trip in Punta Mita, and we were sitting with a group of friends. I think it was John Grauman, Stefan Pombepui, you. I want to say it was Ben Belak too. I don't remember exactly, but it was like 5 or 4 of us. And we had just had a great workout. We were feeling great. And then we went into the spa. And I said, you guys want to do a guided visualization? And I remember walking you through my visualization of being in a yacht somewhere out in the Mediterranean and what it felt like it and everything. How fun was that?
Unbelievable. And you know something? That is so important for the laptop. The visualization aspect of it is real, man. I mean, if you can see it, and I know you've shared this story, but I know your visualization of your 40th birthday and being on the boat and visualizing what friends are there and how the wood feels and how the rubber feels on the boat. I mean, you have to visualize your success because we create our own success. And no one else is going to hand it to you, right? And I think that if you can go deep into that visualization, it's so powerful. And it is easier said than done. You know, I'm a very hyper energetic guy and I'm like, boom, 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 from one thing to the next. I've been doing these, and you'll laugh because I know how good you are and big into meditation you are. I've been doing these 2-minute mindful moments with my daughter before bed. And amazing. I type into Google a 2-minute mindful moment, and God, how great. I've learned this really and started doing it because of my 10-year-old. But you just breathe, listen to the sound of your breathing, and you start going into that visualization of where you want to be, how you're going to get there, like imagining it. And once you really get to that place, it's amazing. It's amazing.
You don't want to get out. The
You
longer
don't.
you can stay in that moment, what happens is your brain starts to rewire again, you know, and it doesn't know the difference.
That's
So,
right.
you know, God, the universe, or what is that you all believe in, it starts to delivering and corresponding to similar thoughts, people that think similar, that they're going to realize to like start putting things together for bringing in your life those opportunities, those people. We talk about it, you know, you start feeling that way. And because, you know, you have the chart of emotions, and I'm going to talk in that in a little bit about what the chart of emotions is, you know, but you have emotions, and you need to find out where are you in this emotional. Our emotions are basically the thermometer that, you know, measures the way we feel and where we are. And the
Yeah.
idea is for us to be in the good emotions and feel bad. Doesn't mean that we never can go down there. It's okay. Then the law of contrast takes place. You know, you need to be
Yeah.
sad sometimes to appreciate how much the good moments and the happiness is. But the goal is to
Absolutely.
stay as much as possible feeling good. And that feeling good is going to put us energy beings and a vibration that is going to just attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right moments, and
Yeah.
the right mood and the right life, you know? So I think that it'll be fair to say that we should all make a decision right now to give up to negative thoughts. I think that's a commitment that is not that hard. I think that's something that we can practice. And again, we've been, you know, raised. I mean, we all, you know, I'm 40. Everybody's different ages or whatever. But for so much, you know, of our lives, we've been going, let's say, in one way. You know, thinking about this and having negative thoughts and thinking that it's too hard to do that and too hard to do this. We're going all through school where teachers are saying, well, that's impossible. Whatever it is that happened to you, you know, is kind of put in your brain that way of thinking. So if
Yeah.
for 20 years, 10 years, 15 years, or whatever you've been going in this direction, if you start going the other way to unwind that way of thinking, and you want to
Yeah.
start going in this direction of being positive, of like changing your life and all these things that we discuss, well, it's not going to take 3 days, a month, 2 months, and automatically do that. You're going to start pushing this way, and it's going to take a lot of work first to start unwinding. But as you do it, and it's going to start going easier and easier and easier. But what you want to do is habituate to this lifestyle, you know, where anytime there is a situation that happened to you, you just look at it as a situation. Okay, this is just a situation. Someone just banged on my door in my car. I just got a speeding ticket. Whatever is that happening in your personal life, in your business, or whatever. And what you want to do is that unwinding automatically, instead of going starting to go these ways, but you've been practicing so much, then it starts going in the right way, and you start living your life that way. And every time you see a situation, you analyze it and take the emotions aside for a second, and you say, okay, so what happened right now? Someone crashed on my car. Should I start thinking about, oh, I should have made a left a street before? Because we all think these things, right? I should have left 5 minutes later. I should have not make a right. I should have make a left. What that happened already. It's stupid to keep talking about something that is in the past. But what if you think, okay, I just crashed. I'm healthy. Thank God we're good. It's just a material thing that's going to get solved. I'll figure it out how to do it. Let's move on and move on and continue going. That's, I think, what's going to help us grow, you know, in every situation in life. So let's make that decision of giving up negative thinking and negative thoughts and start practicing on going in the other direction. What do you think about that?
Amen to that, my man. Amen
And
to
one of the
that.
things that help for that is good habits,
Yeah.
right? You gotta develop good habits because, you know, Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do, right? What we repeatedly do, that's who we are, right? And in addition to that, if we want to expand a little bit more, Marcus Aurelius, you know, who, you know, read about Aristotle and saw that, you know, that's what he said. He went a little deeper and he went a little bit more on what in alignment what we have, where he says, you know, excellence is not by a habit. Such are habitual thoughts will be the character of your mind. You know, that's what he says. So every thought that you habituated of thinking, and that's why visualizing, meditating, that exercises to help your mind to habituate to think certain things. That's really what builds your character and who you really are. So it's very important. I mean, we have these amazing teachers in life, you know, going back to the ancient Greece and ancient Rome. I mean, incredible men of power that have this way of thinking, and they had the ability to you know, memorialized in a piece of paper and someone translated, you know, I mean, all this information. And then you have books like the Daily Stoic that I read every day, where all this knowledge is dropped in there, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
why not use it? You know, I mean, this is something that you should be grateful for having, you know.
It's funny you're talking about that. I've been reading the book that you recommended, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And I find that, you know, I have my highlighter pen, and it's one of those books I just can't stop highlighting the whole bloody book, because every single line has a meaning and every single meaning has a purpose. And, you know, some of the stories that they're referring to in that book go back so many years that it's obviously proven, right? It's obviously proven. And they keep talking about in the book, the secret, right? And the secret will come. And the secret does come, because as you're reading this book, you're learning. And it talks about Henry Ford and people doing the impossible. And if your mindset is in that sort of faith mode, you can accomplish anything. And I think that so many of us feel that we're underachievers, or that we're less than, or that we can't do that, or we can't go there. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. We can go as high and as far as we want if we believe in ourselves. And that's the first step. You have to believe in yourself. And actually, that leads me to, you know, you're a huge fan of Tony Robbins. And you took me to a Tony Robbins seminar. And I canceled 2 days before. And then the night before, you're like, you're coming. And I came to that event. And that first day, which we can talk about walking across coal, but there was one story that they shared that has stuck with me. I mean, I think about it all the time. And that is the flight attendant. You know, it's the flight attendant story, which is that when you get on the airplane and you sit down and you buckle up, and then the security people and the crew come on and they go through the security briefing and they talk about the mask. In the event the mask comes down, what's the first thing that you do? They say you put it on yourself so that you can then put it on the child, i.e. you take care of yourself first so you can take care of others. And I love that, because if I can take care of myself and I can be good within, then I can be helpful to others. And that has that has stuck with me for forever since I left that.
I know, I love that one too. If you cannot save or help anyone, if you don't save or help yourself first.
Absolutely the truth. It really is.
Talking about Tony Robbins, I wrote down a quote here for today, and it goes, "People get rewarded in public for what they practice for years in private." Think about that. Everybody sees the James Harris in the TV show, driving the nice car, walking in these beautiful houses, talking to the famous people, but nobody saw the James Harris going uphill, door knocking in Blue Jay Way like I did, right? So that hard work that you did for years now is paid. So you get rewarded for it, right? Everybody sees, everybody now knows you worldwide. You know, I have the opportunity to travel with you, and I mean, we're in the middle of Italy walking in the street and people want to come and take a picture with you. That's just blows my mind. It's amazing.
Bizarre. Very bizarre, but yes.
But it's that, you know, it's like the hard work now, you know, everything that you do privately, the sacrifices and everything, people don't see. They just see the tip of the iceberg. They don't see the bottom of it, what it takes to get there, you know. And you can ask to any successful person, you know, you got to work hard, you know. So someone was asking a few weeks ago, it's like, what if I do the meditation, the visualization and all this and it's not working? Well, you can just sit in your couch and visualize and meditate and hope that someone's going to drop a bag of cash in your front door. No, the opposite. They're going to come and take the house and the couch from you, you know? Yes, so you got to combine. You got to be in alignment here, but you got to go and put the work. Massive amount of work. You need to be the guy that outworks everybody else in order to be on the top. It's known. I mean, look at Kobe Bryant, you know, look at Michael Jordan. I mean, it's an amazing TV show right now that is happening. I'm going to start watching it today. I can't remember the name right now. I think I don't remember. It's about Michael Jordan. I need to look.
I've seen some of that.
But that's what it's about, you know. It's about preparing yourself, about working hard, and you know, and basically building your road to where you want to be. And all what we're doing right now here is, since we have more time than normal, since we go into these times where it's very easy to jump into turning on the TV, and the worst thing you could do, probably watching the news. But let's say you're not doing that, but you're turning on the TV and you start watching TV shows and you're just lazy and you're eating potato chips on your couch and you're just feeling bad about how everything is, I'm telling you, it's gonna go very quickly down there, you know. And it's happened to me during this period of time. I had days, and I'm gonna lie to you, you know, I'm a very honest person. I'm open book. I had a couple of days where I was like freaking out here. But now that I know these tools, first thing I do is, you know, is action. You need to be, you know, you need to get your body to get moving. You know, it helps you. That's one tool that is really powerful. Just get out there, go on a run, go jump in a hike, in a bicycle, or something that gets you out of, snaps you out of that feeling. And once you start feeling good about it, now sit down and meditate and visualize and start writing down the things that make you feel good, and start reading the books and watching the shows that are worth to watch, you know?
That's absolutely right. Nothing is going to be given. Nothing comes easy. And in fact, I do analyze a lot of very successful people in the world. And if you actually analyze each and every single one of them, whether they're friends of yours, people you look up to, every single one of them have passion. They're wildly passionate about what they do and where they're going to go and how they're going to get there. And they have a strategy, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but they keep going and they're passionate. And I believe that you have to give your journey 110% of everything if you want it to succeed. Now, people can get lucky, and we've all seen that, but ultimately, if you want to succeed and you want to get to the top, you have to be willing to give it 110% and really analyze some of those people. Every single one of them give it everything they've got, and it's inspiring to watch.
Yep, it's a work ethic. All those successful people have a ridiculous, you know, work ethic, you know.
And every single one of those people, Santiago, that we know and that we follow, they've all failed at certain times in their life. They've all got back up. And I love this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. And I think so many of us fail and we don't want to get back up. But it's all about the mindset of how you look at that and analyze that. And every failure I've made, I said it at the beginning of our conversation today, every failure I've made has been a part of my success and my journey today. And I really, really mean that. And it's important to look at it from that perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Amen.
Right? I mean, you gotta go for it. You gotta fail. You gotta fail in order to win. Someone just helped me out a little bit here. The Last Dance is the Michael Jordan documentary.
That's the one, yes.
That I think is going to be super fun, and you know, you're going to be seeing, you know, guys like him and Kobe and with an incredible amount of inspiring work ethic, you know. So, you know, changing up a little bit, and then I want to jump in a few questions. I'm sure that people are asking you a lot of questions. So what we're going to do, a little fun thing is like, you'll respond one question, I'll do another one. We'll do a few of those for the last 15 minutes of the chat. But I wanted to jump and talk a little bit about, you know, discipline. You know, I mean, you are a guy that I've seen that has evolved in discipline. That you have the discipline from every aspect. You know, there are things that you want to do that you don't do, and I know for a fact. Because we're friends, obviously, and there are things that I want to do that I don't do, and the only thing that keeps us in track, the only thing that keeps us focused is discipline, right? So, how important is discipline in your life? And I mean, you have seen him, you met me now, you know that that's something that I swear by. Tell me a little bit about discipline and how you see discipline in your life, and how the results of being disciplined have been in your life.
So, before I tell you about me, I have never seen a more disciplined person than you. And for anybody watching right now, especially on Instagram that follow me and don't follow Santiago, make sure you follow this guy, because putting aside friendship, I have never seen somebody as disciplined as you are that follows through with it. No, because listen, I can tell you about my discipline, and a part of it may be utter bullshit and some of it may be true, but I can absolutely swear by everything that comes out of your mouth. You practice it daily, from the writing down of notes, from the meditation, from the structure, from the working out, from the manifestation, from the gratitude. Everything you do, seriously, is like you want to be a part of that because you see your success And I think that success breeds that success. And so when we talk about discipline, I can wholeheartedly tell you the discipline I have in my life is because I've seen it work on people like you. And if it works on you, why wouldn't I do my best? And discipline for me is everything, because look, for example, you did one of your seminars and you said that you should start your day where you wake up and instead of looking on your phone and Instagram and texts and emails, you go right into meditation. That's a great way to start the day. My discipline told me after I heard that, I did it. And then 2 days later, I wake up and I'm on Instagram and I'm on emails. So the discipline that you implement in your life, it has to remain consistent, right? Otherwise, there's no point of doing it in the first place. Where I hold a lot of discipline is accountability. I like to hold myself accountable for everything that I do. So if there's something that I don't do, I can't blame it on somebody else. It's my own fault. My discipline comes in, I make sure I work out every single day right now. I make sure that I'm in my office by 9 o'clock every day. I make sure that I make the most out of my day each and every day. I never want a day to go by where I looked at myself and said, I could have done more. I could have been better at this. I could have done better at that. Of course, I'm not perfect, but discipline is the key to success, and keeping it consistent is also the key to success. And not easy to do, by the way, but definitely something you've got to practice every day.
The easy road is the one that doesn't take you to the place you want to be. So you got to take the hard road. And discipline is hard, but it can be developed and you can learn. That's so true what you say. You can develop. I mean, it's easy to start and then fall, and then you need to just keep going. But you do have amazing discipline. You do things that I told you before that I don't know if I would be able to do it if I was put in a place like you. So don't be so hard on yourself. You are an amazing disciplined man. But yes, discipline is the key. You know, I mean, Jim Rohn mentions and talks about the way of discipline versus the way of regret, right? So discipline is hard, you know, it weighs in ounces. Regret of not having the discipline weighs in tons. So what do you want to have? Ounces of weight and be a little hard right now and sacrifice a little bit and just wake up early and put your alarm until you get used to do the things that you want to do? Or you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and look at the person that had the discipline that is in a different place and regret that you didn't do it. That's going to weigh on you a lot more than the discipline right now, how hard it's going to be right now. That's such a true statement, you know?
That is the truth right there. Because when you don't do something that you know you need to do or you set out to do, it, at least for me, it plays on my mind all day long. So it's a program of action every day. Instead of thinking it, act on it. And that is the truth. When you don't act on it, it weighs down 100 times more.
Yep, exactly. So we touched so many important points. I want to kind of close up and then open it up for questions, because I see a lot of people are starting to ask questions, and I love answering questions. I wish I could answer all of them, but we obviously don't have the time to do it. But I think we need to talk a little bit about, I mentioned that I was going to talk about it, so I don't want to not do it, about the chart of emotions, right? You have, everyone can go right now on Google chart of emotions, and you're going to come up with different charts. I would print that or take a screenshot or something in a place where you can look at it all the time, so that you can remind yourself where you are on that chart, right? And it starts from like the most amazing emotions, love, happiness, compassion, whatever it is, it starts going down, and it goes down to disappointment, this, blah, 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 all the way down to anger. So at all times that, you know, once you start visualizing and seeing this chart, it's going to be easier for you to kind of know where you are in the chart and kind of work and do the incantations, the visualization, the exercise, whatever it is that snaps you out of that, because the idea is to shift your frequency and stay in one positive frequency all the time. Now, is it going to happen all the time? No, it's not going to happen all the time. It's part of life. And one of the things I was thinking about, actually, this morning, I went on a run, and I'm going to challenge you, James, to something right now in front of all these people. I'm going to challenge everybody that is watching this right now. So this is what we're going to do. James, next Wednesday, right before this talk that I'm going to have, you and I are going to go on my run to the beach, and we're going to jump in the ocean with cold water. How about that?
I'm in next Wednesday. I love that.
for those that are watching, they have the ability to do that. I challenge you all to do it. For those that they don't have the ability to go and jump in the ocean for X or Y reasons, and you have a pool, make sure that it's cold, or jump in a cold shower. I want all of you to challenge yourself to do something different. You know, it's fun. You start doing something different. It gets your mind thinking different things. It gets your whole body in a different place. So we will record the jumping on the water with James next week, and we'll share with all of you.
Let's hold us accountable, baby. I love it. We're going in.
And just this to share with you, you know, that you can do whatever you set your mind on. I'm telling you, every time I go down there, every time I go to the pool, your mind, and you'll see, James, you'll experience this as we go and get closer to the water, and your foot touches the first time the water, and you see how cold it is, you'll be amazed. And I want you to tell me after, and perhaps we'll invite you to be here on another occasion too, where you can share this, how your mind tries to fuck with you. Basically, it tries to like, don't get in there, you're gonna get cold. It's not a good time to get cold right now. There's a shark. What about if I step on a jellyfish? What about this? What about that? And your mind starts to tell you to back out, back. And that's when you need to say, no. I'm who says what's gonna happen here, and I'm gonna jump just to command my body and my mind that I'm gonna do this. And that's just basically a little example is a little way to show that you can do anything you set your mind.
I love that, man. And firstly, if there is a shark, we're fucked. Secondly, when we walked over fire at the Tony Robbins seminar, that is the clearest, best example of exactly what you just said. You know, you're getting to the fire, there's red hot coal, and it does. The mind starts telling you you're going to burn, you're going to be the 1% that's going to get rushed to hospital. But if you stay focused and your head's up and your shoulders are back and you're looking forward and you're saying, yes, I can, essentially, and you get to the other side, you realize that you can do just about anything. And it is the most amazing feeling. And yes, I will shit my pants before I jump in the ocean, but you are going to hold me accountable. We are going to film it. We will post it. And I love it. Let's do it. Next Wednesday, I'm in.
Amazing.
1,000%.
Amazing. I can't wait.
I love it.
Having said that, let's open up to a few questions in here. And people, this is a funny question, with or without wetsuits? Without wetsuits, just with the bathing suit. So, James, why don't you just open up, since you have so many followers? I mean, I'm sure that the questions are jumping in there. Find a couple of interesting questions and go for it, and then I'll find another two.
Well, my favorite that I see right here is your beautiful wife, Kyle. It's not a question, but she's told me I've started twitching. I love you, Kyle. We've already got one friend, Jess Jackson, who's joining us. So that's incredible. What type of prospecting is your team doing right now? That's a great question, because during this time, you need to be sensitive to the economic climate and to people's personal lives, and you don't want to cross the line. We personally, in Santiago, may be different. We are not running our typical prospecting, but we are staying very present with our marketing and our social media and our live tours and our video tours and interacting socially through digital media. We're not door knocking and sending leaflets and getting in front of people because of our safety. But, you know, I think with marketing and branding, it's all about consistency. And so no matter what you're doing to prospect right now, make sure that you keep it consistent. If you're going to send newsletters, make sure you do it once a week. If you're going to go to Instagram, make sure if you say you're going to do it 3 times a week, do it 3 times a week. Make sure that you're doing property tours, virtual tours. So we're prospecting for new business by remaining consistent online and making sure that our digital presence is on point at all times. How about you, Santi?
Yes, I think I'm doing the same things, but I think it's also important that you actually are there for your current clients, you know, for the people that you have sold houses that you work with in the past, and be there for them as a resource for anything that they need, and they know that you think about them, and they're important to you. You know, I think that's something that instead of prospecting and making new calls, perhaps it's important to just kind of keep in touch with the people that you know and your database,
100%.
right?
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, our clients today, Look, everyone's looking for answers. Nobody has them. But I wouldn't get on the phone with a client and tell them everything's going to be fine, everything's going to be great, because the truth is we don't know.
Nobody
And I
knows.
think honesty goes a very long way. You provide the information, you have that information at your fingertips, make sure it's factual. You know, for our market, I'm telling people the truth, which is last week we saw a $45 million sale. We saw a $38.5 million sale, and there's around 100 million under contract in Beverly Hills. That is all factual. It is all true. And you're now providing knowledge and information to your clients. So whatever market you're in, wherever you are, make sure whatever information is helpful, relevant, and factual.
Great. All right, I'm gonna go with one question here that I have that is I think very important. I mean, there's a lot of them, but these stand out to me. Matthew says, when you create discipline, how do you overcome the beginning part when you are, you know, good one day another day, keeping on it, and how to streamline the process? So Matthew, and for everyone, I think that you know, discipline is definitely something you can develop. If you don't have it, you can definitely train yourself to have the discipline. And I will start by choosing tasks that are not that hard, you know, choose tasks that you know that you're going to be able to do it. Put your alarm and you're going to wake up an hour earlier, you know, you don't have to wake up 4 hours. If you wake up at 8 o'clock, don't make a point to wake up at 4. It'll be hard. But what about we wake up at 7 now? And then just make a habit to do that. And when you do it, you're going to feel good about yourself and you're going to feel like you accomplished something. So one of the best ways to create discipline is creating and setting up small little tasks and just sticking to it. I'd rather you to wake up 1 hour earlier and keep it forever than try to wake up 4 hours earlier and try to be the 5 a.m. You know, there is a book that Robin Sharma wrote about the 5 a.m. club. That's awesome. You might get there. You had the ability to do that. But what about let's take little steps, you know, let's take little steps so you feel good about yourself, because there's nothing more important than know that you accomplished something, because that's going to reinforce you from the inside to say, okay, I'm developing discipline. So that will be my answer to that. What about you, James?
I love that. I couldn't agree with you more. And I see a question here from Brian, also similar. Do you guys time block? And if so, what are some must-dos every day regarding discipline? I don't think discipline is something you time block. I think discipline is something that you do consistently in your life. And like you said, Santiago, and I was a victim, or I was someone that did this, you know, if I said before I started working out, you know, I would work out once and then I would work out 5 days a week and then sometimes 2 times a day. And I'm setting myself up to fail, right? Because you can't withstand working out 5 days a week, sometimes twice a day. So like you said, keep it consistent, set yourself up with realistic targets and expectations in what your discipline is about, and stick to it. And you said it, I think you were saying measuring in ounces or tons. You know, if you stick to what you say you're going to do, God, it is such a freeing feeling, and you will feel so much better with yourself.
All right, awesome. So on my Instagram, there is Juliet, oh, I guess it's in Spanish, Julieta Somoya. What is one tip that you could give to someone that has discipline and determination, but it still doesn't have a clear professional project? I mean, look, you know, at some point when we're young, we really are confused of what we want to do, or what is, you know, it's so much out there to do. I mean, I think the way how you apply discipline is like, do something, you know, pick one thing and be disciplined on that one thing. And it will be clear, you know, that whether it's something that is meant to you or not, it needs to feel good about it, you know. I think that I mean, I know from my experience in my personal life, I have very few friends that since we were in high school, they knew exactly where they want to be. You know, I have a friend that is like, I'm going to be a doctor. And he went and studied medicine, and he's one of the best doctors right now in Bolivia. I had another friend that he knew he was going to be a lawyer. But the majority, we didn't know, especially me. I mean, I never thought I want to be selling real estate. You know, I studied business and marketing, and somehow I ended up doing real estate. And didn't happen until I was, you know, mid-20s. So, and then, you know, guess what? Maybe you're 40, maybe you're 45, and then you decide to find a new thing to do. So I think the discipline is find something and just do that and be the best you can be at that. And then if that doesn't work out, then you can make a decision to switch that and apply discipline to that new thing that is going to fulfill you, you know?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. And again, the key to discipline is sticking to it, being consistent with it, and following through with it. There's a question here that came through on our Zoom from Brandon. How do you balance kids being home and work happening being that you're family men, and so am I.
It's funny. I was just reading that one. I was going to read it too. You beat me. Go
I
ahead.
love that question because, you know, I think, and if my wife heard this, she'd probably come running in and punch me and tell me I'm talking absolute
I want to
rubbish.
see that.
But before coronavirus happened, and it's weird because I feel like this coronavirus has done for me in some ways what I couldn't do for myself, which was slow down and appreciate certain things in my life. Now, when we didn't have corona, we were all running at 100 miles an hour. You know, everything in our lives was like fast pace, go, go, go. And what this has actually done has allowed us to slow down, to appreciate the smaller things. And with that, you know, it's also allowed me to spend so much more time with my wife and children. And I'm spending this time at home and I'm absolutely loving it. You know, I'm cherishing it because our kids grow so quick, and they grow so quick that we don't even realize it. And then we look back and my daughter's 10, and you don't want to lose that time or miss that time. And so for me right now, having this balance being forced on me has been incredible. You know, I work from the second I wake up, when I'm including my workout and my breakfast and being in the office. But come noontime, it's time to have lunch with the children. Come the afternoon, it's time to spend it with the children. And I think everything about what we're doing right now is a wake-up call to have a healthy balance, to focus on our families, to cherish our families. And it's weird. I think even once we get out of this phase, and if my wife is listening or watching, I'm probably going to work from home more because I love this time. And she's probably thinking she'll kick me out of the house. But I have loved this time and creating this healthy balance and spending more time and being present. And it's actually been absolutely amazing.
Amazing. I think you're not the first person I hear this. I heard this from Mauricio. I heard from a lot of our close friends. You know, let's all like make a point to think about once we hang up and we finish this call. Let's all make a point to write down a few lines of what are the silver linings in your life about this, you know? And it doesn't have to be a game changer, life-changing event. It can be something as simple as, wow, I get to sleep an extra hour, or I get to eat lunch at whatever time, or I get to spend more time with my family, with my kids. I get to watch a movie on a Tuesday night. Who cares? I get to do 2 workouts a day instead of 1 because now I have the time to do cardio in the morning and go and weightlift in the evening, or whatever it is. Like simple things. I get to cook more. I get to learn how to cook. Whatever it is that you can find as a silver lining of what's happening right now and us going through what we're going through. And I can guarantee you start writing down those things, you're immediately going to feel a lot better.
I could not agree with you more.
Let me see if I can find a question here on my Instagram. I saw someone asking, okay, someone is asking a real estate question here. Gaga Newburn, is there any other way to start a real estate career than knocking on people's door and making a phone call that would bother people, and how to start at this situation? I mean, look, there's a lot of different ways how to start. You know, I always share my example of what I did and there's another question from someone that was asking here. Someone covered those two questions. One was like, how do you start a business? I'm new in the area and I don't have any sphere of influence. Those two apply exactly to me and to you, James. You know, we moved from different countries.
Yeah.
We didn't know people here. And so you go on the basics, right? The basics of real estate that you learn, and I learned this in the very beginning, is, okay, how do you create a sphere of influence if you don't have it? So you go door knocking, right? You go cold calling, you write letters, you see open houses, you go out, you meet people and start talking, you know, you start generating and meeting people. It's a people's business and it's a numbers game. So if you don't want to do those, I mean, there's other ways how to do it, you know? I mean, you just need to find for example, for me, cold calling didn't work. Why? Because if you think I have an accent right now, I love for you to hear me talking when I was, in 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, you know, I still have a very thick accent. But if you heard me talking when I was starting in real estate and I pick up the phone and I try you to sell your house, you'll hang up in the first 5 seconds, right? So that did not work for me. I wasn't fluid where someone will ask me a question and we have the ability to respond as quick. But one of the things that I was good at it is with people. You know, I started an open house, people would come to me and I start talking, and being in front of me got people to kind of not pay attention so much into the accent, and, you know, just, you know, I was a fun, nice person and treated them well and knowledgeable about the area, and they got attracted to that as opposed to like not seeing who they're talking on the phone. Other people, I mean, Ben Belak, for example, in our office, he's amazing at cold calling. I mean, he just brought me into an appointment to help him get a listing that we actually successfully just got for 10,750,000, and Dennis, an amazing house out of cold calling. And literally I'm sitting with him at the appointment, and the owner of the property said, you know how many phone calls I got? I hang up on most of those phone calls, 20, 30 phone calls. And there was something that you said that got me interested, and now here we are, and you got in my listing. And then I walk out with Ben, and we're talking, and he's like, you know, I wonder what it is. And I'm like, dude, what it is that you're amazing to it. You practice, you have practiced so much, and you have so many of these scripts, right? That when he said that he was about to hang up on you, you knew exactly what are the 4 options to say something that was going to call his attention, and you did. And once you hook him, and he was trying to get off the phone again, you throw another one of your scripts, and out of the sudden, the guy wants to talk to you. What is that? Is that practice, right? It's practice, it's knowing your scripts and practicing and practicing. And you can ask how many calls he makes. He probably makes hundreds of calls. It's a numbers game. You can call 10 people and get 3 listings. You know, you need to call maybe 100 people to get 5 appointments. And out of those 5 appointments, maybe you get 1 listing. So that's kind of how it goes.
Amen. I mean, Ben is a great example. I think any business where you write your own paycheck, you are your own CEO, which is exactly what we are in the real estate world. You create and define your own success, right? So if you're willing to put in the work, you can be successful. Door knocking, open houses, like you said, the mailers, cold calling. It's all about your attitude when you're doing that, because sales is about pipeline, building a pipeline. And so if you're willing to go to any length to be successful and get there, I'm telling you, you'll be successful. And I learned something very early on, and David and I had to door knock and door knock and door knock, but we learned a line that I just love, which is that every time you hear the word no, you're closer to hearing a yes. And that's a great mindset to have, because often we'll hear the word no and it will put us down and we'll think we can't, or we let fear stand in the way of us. But if you run with that mentality of every time I hear the word no, I'm closer to a yes, suddenly you shift your perspective, and then you go, go, go until you get to that yes, and you can make it very exciting for yourself. But you have to have that thing inside you, that spark that is going to give you that drive to be successful.
Awesome. So we're almost done here, and I hate to be cut off. We have 3 minutes, and the Instagram is going to cut off. I wanted to thank you, James, for being here.
I love you, man. Thank you.
Love you too, and thanks for sharing your experiences. Thanks for sharing everything that I experienced. So I was just happy to be able to share with other people, so they know who you really are. I mean, we touched very briefly on who you really are, but I think they get a very good idea that you are not where you are just because that you work really hard. I've seen it for many years. We talked. I've seen you in bad places. I've seen you down, and we both brought each other up together as friends. And I think that you have read the books. I mean, someone is asking a book to start a career. What do you recommend? I mean, I swear by Think and Grow Rich. Now you finally read it after 10 years that I know you. And again, everybody needs to be ready for the message, and everybody needs to be ready to read that. And one of the things that, James, you're going to experience now with this book is next year you read it again, you're going to go back and open it up, and you're going to see some highlighted areas that, they're going to touch and be like, oh my God, I remember when I highlighted that. But you're going to see a lot of unhighlighted areas that you haven't, touched, that didn't mean anything to you right now. But you growing as a person, the book's not changing, and down the road, there's be something meaningful in there that you weren't ready for it at the time, that you will be ready down the road. And that's the beauty of those books, So I recommend everybody reading that book. Thank you all for joining. This was it went so fast. It was so much fun to have you here. Thank you all. Go and have an amazing week. Let's start being disciplined. Let's start writing down our goals. Let's start putting in practice everything that we're talking right now here. Okay. So have an amazing day, an amazing weekend. And I'll see you next week after jumping in the water with James.
Can't wait, my man. Love you, Santi. Thank
Love you too,
you.
man. Bye-bye.
Love you, man. Thank you.